Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we have an upper intermediate level lesson. It's kind of bitter, it's a little bit sad, but it's also kind of sweet.
That's right. We have a lesson today all about getting a divorce or divorcing someone.
Yeah, so this is what happens when two people's marriage ends. They decide they want to leave each other. They have a divorce. So let's take a listen to today's dialogue, and we'll be back in a moment.
Joanne, let's not make this divorce any more acrimonious than it already is, okay? Let's just get down to business and start dividing this stuff up fairly so we can go our separate ways, all right?
Fine with me. I just want to get this over with. It's important we make a clean break. I should have signed a prenup.
What was that?
Nothing? Anyway, you're right. There's no reason this has to be nasty. My lawyer tells me that you've accepted our alimony proposal and the division of property, as well as the custody agreement. I keep the cat and you get the dog. So that's done. Finally.
Well, let's not go there, Joanne. Okay, so let's start with the record collection. I'll take the albums I contributed, and you can have your cheesy disco albums back.
Fine, but I'm keeping the antique gramophone as my grandfather gave it to me.
I believe that was a wedding present to both of us, Joanne, and you hardly ever use it.
He's my grandfather, and he never really liked you anyway.
Whatever. All right, I'll concede the silly gramophone if you'll agree that I get the silver tea set.
How typical. When are you ever going to use a silver tea set? Fine. I don't want to drag this out any more than necessary. What's next? What about these old photographs?
Which ones? Let me have a look. Oh, wow, look at that. That brings back memories. Remember that?
Our trip to Italy. I remember that day. We were going to visit the Trevi Fountain, and we got caught in the rain.
And you looked so adorable with your hair all wet. I had to take a picture of you standing there in that little alley, smiling and laughing in the rain.
Oh, we really did have fun back then, didn't we?
Oh, Joanne, are we making a big mistake? I know our relationship has been on the rocks for some time, but are you sure we can't reconcile and try again? I still love you.
Oh, Jeff, I love you too. I'm so glad we didn't have to decide who keeps the motorcycle.
The motorcycle? But that's mine!
All right, we're back. So now why don't we take a look at 6 key words on language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
Okay, Marco, this first word is what we call an SAT word. That means it's very difficult. It's so hard that many high school students in America study it before they go to college. Acrimonious.
So the sentence starts off by saying, let's not make this divorce any more acrimonious than it already is.
This divorce is very acrimonious, but let's not make it worse.
Okay, so acrimonious would be
Bitter.
bitter, very complicated.
Hard. So people emotional about it. You know, people, Joanne and Jeff, are getting a divorce. They're very angry at each other. So they're not having a peaceful divorce. So this is the opposite. It's very bitter. It's very angry.
Can you say this test is very acrimonious?
No. Usually relationships are acrimonious.
Okay.
For example, ever since they had that big fight, Jeff and Joanne's relationship has been very acrimonious.
Okay. Awesome. So acrimonious, a very hard word there. As you say, many people study it to pass exams in order to go into college. So now you know. Now, moving on, we have a very common legal term. When people are getting married, they want to sign sometimes a prenup.
Yeah, you said it's common. You hear this a lot in movies and TV.
Yeah, with celebrities.
Yeah, you read about celebrities. So basically, a prenup is a short way of saying a prenuptial agreement. Nuptial means having to do with marriage.
Right. So basically, if you sign a prenup, you are agreeing to certain conditions before you get married.
That's right. It's a contract between future husband and future wife about what happens if they divorce. For example, I decided not to get a prenup with my fiance because I don't think we'll get divorced. But maybe he decided to get a prenup because in case they divorce, he wants to keep his car.
Right. So it usually happens a lot with celebrities, as we say, because they have a lot of money. And if they get divorced, then usually it can get complicated, how much money the spouse gets, etc. So maybe their prenuptial agreement or prenup will be that if they get divorced, the wife may get maybe $1 million instead of $100 million.
Exactly. It's a way many people protect themselves financially in case of divorce.
Very good. Now, moving on, another legal term and related to money is an alimony.
Okay, so let's look at the context of this word. Joanne is talking and she says, "My lawyer tells me you've accepted our alimony proposal." Alimony. So this is probably something to do with money, right?
So she said that her lawyer has proposed an alimony, and that's usually a settlement, an amount of money that you agree on when you get divorced.
Right, so this is exactly it. In a divorce, this is how much money one person will pay the other.
That's right. So if two people are married and when they get a divorce, their alimony may be the husband. If he's got a lot of money, he will pay an alimony of $500,000.
Right. And so this is different from property, which is the next thing. Division of property means that you talk about who will receive the car, the house, things like that.
Okay. Very good. So very complicated situations when you're getting divorced, prenups and alimony. But moving on, they were talking about custody as well. Custody of maybe children, maybe custody of their pets.
That's right. So you talk about alimony. This is money. Property, which is things. But what about people and animals? This is called custody. I want custody. Custody means caring for something or looking after something. You could say the child is in the grandmother's custody.
Okay, so in the care of the grandmother.
That's right.
So usually as well, when people get divorced, somebody gets custody of the children.
Right. So he wants custody, but he doesn't have a job, so she will receive custody. You could say that. In this case, though, we're talking about custody of pets, animals.
Right. In this case, it's animals, but it's actually true, right? People, when they get divorced, they may ask the court for custody of their pets.
That's right. And sometimes custody is what makes a divorce extremely acrimonious.
Yes. Who gets to keep the children? Who gets to keep the pets? Now, moving on and a little bit away from legal terms, they were dividing up their property and saying, well, I get to keep this, you get to keep that. And Joanne said, I'm keeping the antique gramophone as my grandfather gave it to me.
So who cares about pets and money? I want the gramophone.
Right.
All right, so this is actually a word you don't hear very often anymore.
It's an old thing, and that's what antique means, right? Antique is old.
Right, so antique, this is an adjective here. It can also be a noun. An antique table, an antique gramophone, is something that's very old, like 100 years old or 150 years old.
And a gramophone is one of those machines that you see in movies that play the old vinyl records and has like a big horn where the sound echoes.
That's right. So in the 19th century, early 20th century, people didn't have CDs or MP3s or iPods. This is how they listened to music. So you usually have a hand crank. You have to turn the machine, and then the music will play, and you can dance and do whatever.
Right. So that's a gramophone. Now moving on to our last word, Jeff said, you know what? Okay, fine. Keep the gramophone. All right. I'll concede the silly gramophone. So to concede.
To concede means to give up an argument.
Okay, so you give up, you give in, you say, all right, take it.
That's exactly right. So in this case, the argument is who will receive the gramophone? They fight, they argue, and finally, Jeff says, I concede. Okay, I give up. You take it.
And is it only for things, or can you also concede someone like you say somebody is right?
You can say that, or an election. For example, there are two people who want to be president, and the vote is counted, and it's not clear who the president is, and one person says, fine, I concede. That means I give up, you win.
Okay, very good. So to concede. All right, 6 key words there. They're very interesting, especially the legal terms. Very common, and it's very common, and it's very useful for you to know next time you're watching maybe a movie or something related to this topic.
Hopefully not the next time you're getting divorced.
Right. But let's move on now to 4 key phrases that we have for everyone on Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
Marco, let's get this over with. I'm tired. I want to go home.
Let's get it over with. Come on, let's just do it and get it over with.
All right, so this is our first phrase in Fluency Builder. To get this over with, or to get it over with.
Okay, so let's take that as a phrase. And to get something over with means let's just finish it quickly. Let's stop delaying.
That's right. This is a way to ask to finish something quickly or to stop something. So, for example, I have to go to the dentist later. Maybe I really don't want to go. I'll say to myself, let me just get this over with, and once it's done, I don't have to worry about it.
Or maybe you have homework to do, and instead of doing it later, you're just like, okay, I'm going to do it now and just get it over with.
All right, to get over with, to get something over with.
Okay. And when they were talking about breaking up or separating, Joanne mentioned it's important we make a clean break. What does she mean by making a clean break?
All right, we hear this phrase all the time. It's a very important phrase. In relationships, it means when two people leave each other, you don't then call them or see each other or hang out. It means a clean break. You stop altogether.
Okay.
You stop something completely.
So you don't talk anymore, you don't see each other anymore, you completely just stop contact with each other.
Exactly. You can also say this about breaking something. You could say it was a clean break. When I broke my arm, it was a clean break. There were no little pieces of bone or any problems like that. It was a clean break. That means completely broke.
Okay, so when we talk about clean break in a relationship, it means we completely break up, we stop talking to each other, and it's over with. It's in the past.
Exactly.
All right. So moving on, they were talking and completely, arguing about, I get the gramophone, I get the tea set. And Joanne said, okay, fine. I don't want to drag this out any longer than necessary.
So you can hear her. I don't want to drag this out any longer than necessary. So to drag something out means to extend, to make something longer, to make something take more time than it should.
Okay. So for example, if someone's giving a speech, they may be dragging it out, right? And you're, so if someone's giving a very long speech, you're like, oh my God, he's dragging the speech out so long.
Yeah, when will he ever stop?
Right.
Or you could say in an argument, I'm tired of arguing. Let's not drag this out anymore. Let's just stop.
Okay. So to drag something out is usually time related, to make things longer than necessary.
Exactly.
All right. And for our last phrase, when Jeff was talking about the relationship, he says, I know a relationship has been on the rocks for some time. Okay, so the relationship was on the rocks.
Okay, so this is an interesting phrase. Think about rocks. You see rocks on the ground in the ocean. Something that's on the rocks, in this case, means something that is not going well. Something that has problems. Yes, it's not smooth. So when Jeff says our relationship has been on the rocks, he's saying we fight a lot. We have problems. It's not working.
So if I say my company has been on the rocks recently, it means it's not doing very well.
Business is not going well.
Okay. So you can use this for different things. Now, obviously, you may have heard it before for drinks. You say scotch on the rocks.
Right. That's different. Be careful. In that sentence, Marco's talking about ice.
Right? Yeah. So that's different if you ask for a drink on the rocks. But if you describe yourself or your company or a relationship as being on the rocks, it means you're having a tough time.
It's a bad situation.
Okay.
Exactly.
So it's a very useful phrase. I think that's very native, very colloquial if you say something like
Absolutely.
this.
It's a great phrase to use. I encourage you. I mean, I hope that your situation, your work, and your relationships are not on the rocks. But I do hope that when you're practicing speaking, you use this phrase a lot because it's really, really colloquial, like you say, Marco.
Yeah, it's really good. So I think we've taken a look at a lot of phrases, a lot of vocab. Why don't we go back, listen to the dialogue for one last time.
Joanne, let's not make this divorce any more acrimonious than it already is, okay? Let's just get down to business and start dividing this stuff up fairly so we can go our separate ways, all right?
Fine with me. I just want to get this over with. It's important we make a clean break. I should have signed a prenup.
What was that?
Nothing. Anyway, you're right. There's no reason this has to be nasty. My lawyer tells me that you've accepted our alimony proposal and the division of property, as well as the custody agreement. I keep the cat and you get the dog. So that's done. Finally.
Well, let's not go there, Joanne. Okay, so let's start with the record collection. I'll take the albums I contributed, and you can have your cheesy disco albums back.
Fine, but I'm keeping the antique gramophone as my grandfather gave it to me.
I believe that was a wedding present to both of us, Joanne, and you hardly ever use it.
He's my grandfather, and he never really liked you anyway.
Whatever. All right, I'll concede the silly gramophone if you'll agree that I get the silver tea set.
How typical. When are you ever going to use a silver tea set? Fine. I don't want to drag this out any more than necessary. What's next? What about these old photographs?
Which ones? Let me have a look. Oh, wow, look at that. That brings back memories. Remember that?
Our trip to Italy. I remember that day. We were going to visit the Trevi Fountain, and we got caught in the rain.
And you looked so adorable with your hair all wet. I did take a picture of you standing there in that little alley, smiling and laughing in the rain.
Oh, we really did have fun back then, didn't we?
Oh, Joanne, are we making a big mistake? I know our relationship has been on the rocks for some time, but are you sure we can't reconcile and try again? I still love you.
Oh, Jeff, I love you too. I'm so glad we didn't have to decide who keeps the motorcycle.
The motorcycle? But that's mine!
All right, we're back. So a very interesting dialogue all about divorce. Now, this is a very common situation nowadays in many countries, such as the United States or Europe. Divorce rates are very high lately, like in the past 10, 20 years.
Yeah, they do say that since maybe the 70s or 80s, divorce rates have been on the rise. I think the average now in America is about 50%.
Yeah, it's like 5 in 10 marriages end in divorce.
That's right.
And then from what I understand, or I read once, I think out of those 50% that get divorced, if they remarry, again, the probabilities of those that get remarried are again half. So most likely people will get divorced at least twice.
That's true. Although sometimes you meet people who got married when they were very, very young and they realize that they grew up a little bit and their personality changed or their goals changed and they divorced that one time, but then later in life when they marry again, they know who they are. They get married again and it's better. So I think the situations are all quite different, but it is true that there are a lot of divorces in America. What about Ecuador though? I mean, is the divorce rate similar?
No, not really. I think people are still a little bit more old-fashioned in that sense, like it was before. You know, it was even a little bit taboo to be divorced.
Yeah.
But I don't think people get divorced as often, especially if people have been together for quite a while. That's one of the things that surprises me a lot is I've met people who have been married 20, 30 years and then get divorced. It's like, what? It's like you've been through the toughest times. You know, you've pretty much beat the odds. And why do you get divorced at such a late age?
Yeah, it does seem counterintuitive, but it's possible that they were unhappy for that time and they didn't want to affect their children's lives.
Right, maybe.
And so when their children go to college or leave, they say, okay, now I can, you know, make a big decision.
I know in countries, for example, such as Chile, divorce is still illegal. I think in the Philippines as well.
Really?
Yeah, it's still illegal to get divorced.
Is that because they're very religious countries?
I know Chile is not really that religious. I don't know what it is exactly by law, but a lot of people, I think it may be legal now. I can't really remember very well. I think one of our Chilean listeners can help us out here. But I know a lot of people used to annul their marriages because of this.
I see.
So they would be like, oh, I put the wrong address. So no, this marriage is not valid.
Right.
Or stuff
I
like
spelled
that.
my name wrong.
Yeah. So,
Interesting. Well, I'd be curious to know, as you said, whether any of our Chilean friends know more about this, or for the rest of you, in your country, is divorce common? Is it uncommon? Are there laws that prohibit or that allow divorce? Let us know on our website, englishpod.com.
all right, we'll see you guys there.
Bye.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Thorough or complete stop in a relationship. Clean break. Prenuptial agreement, a contract prior to marriage. Prenup. The act of keeping safe or guarding. Custody. To acknowledge, often reluctantly, as being true. Concede. Proceed for an extended period of time. Drag this out. Set or keep apart in the relationship. Go our separate ways.
Let's try that faster.
To acknowledge, often reluctantly, as being true. Concede. Proceed for an extended period of time. Drag this out. Set or keep apart in the relationship. Go our separate ways. Prenuptial agreement, a contract prior to marriage. Prenup. Thorough or complete stop in a relationship. Clean break. The act of keeping safe or guarding. Custody.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Clean break.
I don't care if he wants to keep the house and the car. I just want a divorce and a clean break so I never have to see him again.
Clean break.
A clean break can only occur if both parties are financially independent.
Clean break.
You're not able to divorce with a clean break at the moment because your husband can't work and needs financial support.
Go our separate ways.
I think it is better if we go our separate ways.
Go our separate ways.
They decided to end the relationship and go their separate ways.
Go our separate ways.
I proposed we go our separate ways, but she didn't want to.
Custody.
I am fighting for custody of my dog.
Custody.
The court gave custody of the children to the father.
Custody.
People always have custody battles when they get divorced.
Concede.
After 3 hours of fighting, she conceded to him the computer.
Concede.
I find it hard to concede when people are right.
Concede.
He conceded me the right to use the car every day.
Drag this out.
I hate it when people drag out a conversation for hours.
Drag this out.
I don't want to drag out this argument any longer.
Drag this out.
The weatherman said that this bad weather will drag out for another 3 days.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we're talking about helping other people.
That's right. We are going to volunteer and to help other people that maybe don't have as much as we do, and so this is a way to give back to the community.
That's right. So this is an intermediate level lesson, and before we get going, we have a phrase to preview in today's vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
All right. So on vocabulary preview today, we have this phrase, a soup kitchen, or it's a noun, a soup kitchen.
That's right. A soup kitchen is a place. Basically, it is a place where volunteers can help cook and serve people who don't have enough money to feed themselves.
Okay, so that's a soup kitchen. It's basically a place where people can get free food.
That's right.
Okay, so this is where we're going to be today. We are at a soup kitchen, and we're going to hear a couple of people talking about helping out at a soup kitchen. Let's listen.
Thanks a lot for pitching in once again, Judy. We really appreciate your help. It seems that at this time of year, there are more and more people who are struggling to make ends meet. There aren't many professional chefs like you who are so generous with their time.
Don't be silly, Mark. I'm more than happy to donate my time to a good cause. Volunteering at the soup kitchen has been really rewarding for me. You know, it's satisfying to provide good meals for those who are less fortunate. I feel like I'm really making a difference in some small way.
Well, your skills are definitely appreciated here. The people who come here have fallen on hard times, and a delicious hot meal can really bolster their spirits. Wow, that smells great. The needy are sure lucky to have you.
Thanks, Mark. Here you go. Enjoy your meal.
Thank you, my dear. Oh, this looks lovely.
You're welcome. Hello, sir. Today we have... George! What are you doing here?
Hey, Judy, I'll have a little of everything, thanks. Smells great.
George, seriously, what are you doing here? I haven't seen you since our divorce was finalized. You've got no right to be here. You're hardly homeless.
Don't be like that, Judy. I really miss your home cooking. All right, we're back. So obviously this person, George, he didn't really need the food, but apparently I think he's divorced from his wife and he was like, oh, I need your food. But other people that were there were very much in need of this food. So why don't we take a look at some of the words and phrases on language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
Well, we've got a couple of interesting words here at the beginning that have to do with volunteering or helping other people. The first phrase we have actually is to pitch in.
That's right, to pitch in. So when you pitch in, that's a way of saying helping, right?
That's right, to help. So I could ask you for your help with something. I could say, hey, Marco, can you pitch in a little of your time with this project I have?
Okay, so dedicate or to help, to pitch in. So when you pitch in, you are helping. This is a really common phrase, very colloquial though, right?
To pitch in, that's right.
Okay, and then moving on, another adjective when a person likes to help or gives money to the poor, that person is generous.
That's right. So generous is an adjective. That means a person can be generous or an effort can be generous. For example, a very famous generous person is...
Mother Teresa of Calcutta.
Well, I was thinking Warren Buffett, but
okay.
Both of them are very generous. Mother Teresa for giving back to the poor and Warren Buffett for donating most of his money.
Okay, very good. So that is a sign of a person that is generous. So usually generous people like Warren Buffett, you say he gave away his fortune to people that didn't have money. We call these people the less fortunate.
That's right. So as you said, we've got 3 words here that mean poor people, basically. Mm-hmm. And we don't like to say poor people in English because it's not very nice. You know, people can't control their situation in many cases, and it's more of a situation of not having what others have. Mm-hmm. And so one way to say this is less fortunate. Okay.
So a person that's less fortunate is a person that's poor.
That's right. So I could say, for example, we often try to help the less fortunate by volunteering our time.
Okay. So fortunate is a way of saying that you have fortune or you have luck. So if you say you are very fortunate, that means that you are very lucky.
That's right.
Okay. So less fortunate means poor. And another way of saying that somebody is poor, you say that person is needy.
Needy. So this probably makes you think of the word need, to need, and you're right. This comes from need. So someone who is needy needs things, needs money, needs help, needs food.
Okay, even attention, right? Somebody that's needy might need a lot of attention all the time.
That's right. So this could actually be a bad thing. Someone who's needy says, look at me, oh my gosh, look at me, listen to me, and that can be very annoying.
Okay, so the needy. And now finally, a very common word to say that somebody is very poor, doesn't have a place to live, doesn't have a home. You say that person is homeless.
Homeless literally means without a home. And so we often talk about the homeless as being a group of people we want to help in society, because the homeless live on the streets, they live in public, and in the winter and times when it's really, really cold, it's very dangerous for them. Mm-hmm. So the homeless are a group that people try to help with these soup kitchens and shelters.
Okay, very good. So a lot of interesting words, common phrases there, very useful. So why don't we go back, listen to this dialogue again, and we'll be back in a little bit with Fluency Builder.
Thanks a lot for pitching in once again, Judy. We really appreciate your help. It seems that at this time of year, there are more and more people who are struggling to make ends meet. There aren't many professional chefs like you who are so generous with their time.
Don't be silly, Mark. I'm more than happy to donate my time to a good cause. Volunteering at the soup kitchen has been really rewarding for me. You know, it's satisfying to provide good meals for those who are less fortunate. I feel like I'm really making a difference in some small way.
Well, your skills are definitely appreciated here. The people who come here have fallen on hard times, and a delicious hot meal can really bolster their spirits. Wow, that smells great. The needy are sure lucky to have you.
Thanks, Mark. Here you go. Enjoy your meal.
Thank you, my dear. Oh, this looks lovely.
You're welcome. Hello, sir. Today we have... George! What are you doing here?
Hey, Judy, I'll have a little of everything, thanks. Smells great.
George, seriously, what are you doing here? I haven't seen you since our divorce was finalized. You've got no right to be here. You're hardly homeless.
Don't be like that, Judy. I really miss your home cooking. All right, we're back. So on Fluency Builder, today we have 3 key phrases. So we're going to take a look at those now.
Fluency Builder.
Okay, so what is our first phrase?
Our first phrase comes from the beginning of the dialogue with Mark, who says, there are some people who are struggling to make ends meet. So the phrase here is to make ends meet.
Okay, to make ends meet. So if you take a look at this phrase, it's very hard to determine what that actually means. What does it mean?
Well, think about a string. If you want to make a circle out of that string, you have to connect the ends, right? And I think of that as being about your income and the money that you spend. I cannot make ends meet if I earn $10 every week, but I spend $15 on my house and my food.
Right.
Okay. So not being able to make ends meet means you spend more than you earn. Okay. And that's not about cars and fancy TVs. That's about your house, your heat, your bills, and your food.
Right.
But I say, I've been able to make ends meet for a while now because I have a pretty good job. Okay, so to make ends meet is to be able to pay for your necessities.
Okay.
But he can't make ends meet means he can't support himself financially.
Okay, very good. So to make ends meet is pretty much to satisfy your basic necessities.
Financially,
okay. Very good. And moving on, when we were talking about generosity and people helping out, if you help people that are less fortunate, you are making a difference in a small way.
Okay, so this is a phrase that we hear all the time in the States. I'm not sure if it's the same in other English-speaking countries, but it's a very popular phrase. We talk about making a difference or trying to make a difference, and it's not very clear what a difference really is. But generally, this means doing good things for other people. Okay, so celebrities try to make a difference with their money and their fame. Some people try to make a difference by working at homeless shelters or at soup kitchens. And so there are many different ways to make a difference, but it's basically the idea that you volunteer or you give money to help other people.
Okay, very good. So even if, for example, you recycle, you can say you're making a difference in the environment.
That's right, you're making a difference. Usually a difference is a positive thing, so keep that in mind.
Very good. And for the last phrase on Fluency Builder today, we say that people who come here have fallen on hard times. So people that have fallen on hard times. What does it mean if you fall on hard times?
Well, basically, hard times are difficulties, right? So not being able to make ends meet, not being able to pay for your food and your housing. And so we have the verb to fall. You've fallen on hard times because you've gone from a place where you're comfortable to a lower place, a place where life is really hard.
Right.
And so think of this as a fixed phrase. He fell on hard times, or they fell on hard times. This means they don't have much money, or they can't support themselves, or they went bankrupt, for example.
So somebody that loses their job may have fallen on hard times.
That's right.
Okay.
And there's one more phrase here that deserves a little attention. We heard this word to bolster. To bolster is a verb that means to improve. So a hot meal can really bolster their spirits. That means it can make them feel better.
So to bolster their spirits means to make them feel happier, to lift their spirits.
That's right. Exactly what you said, to make them feel happier.
Okay, awesome. So a lot of interesting phrases there. Ways that you can talk in English about making a difference, about volunteering. Very interesting stuff. Very good for conversations between friends and family. So why don't we go back, listen to the dialogue again, and we'll be back to talk a little bit more.
Thanks a lot for pitching in once again, Judy. We really appreciate your help. It seems that at this time of year, there are more and more people who are struggling to make ends meet. There aren't many professional chefs like you who are so generous with their time.
Don't be silly, Mark. I'm more than happy to donate my time to a good cause. Volunteering at the soup kitchen has been really rewarding for me. You know, it's satisfying to provide good meals for those who are less fortunate. I feel like I'm really making a difference in some small way.
Well, your skills are definitely appreciated here. The people who come here have fallen on hard times, and a delicious hot meal can really bolster their spirits. Wow, that smells great. The needy are sure lucky to have you.
Thanks, Mark. Here you go. Enjoy your meal.
Thank you, my dear. Oh, this looks lovely.
You're welcome. Hello, sir. Today we have... George! What are you doing here?
Hey, Judy, I'll have a little of everything, thanks. Smells great.
George, seriously, what are you doing here? I haven't seen you since our divorce was finalized. You've got no right to be here. You're hardly homeless.
Don't be like that, Judy. I really miss your home cooking. All right, we're back. So talking about volunteering, have you ever done any volunteer work?
I have. I've done quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, what have you done?
Back when I was living in the United States, in Chicago, I used to cook for a homeless shelter every week. So I would bring food every Thursday.
So you cook at home and you bring the food over to the shelter?
That's right. So the shelter had a kitchen, but they used donations from people because there were so many people who came there for food. And once a month, I would volunteer to also serve the food.
Okay.
So I would bring lasagna or pasta, things that most people like, and then once a month I would sit down with people and talk. You know, a lot of people are lonely when they're in homeless shelters because they come alone, or maybe it's a mother and her child, and it's nice to also come and sit and talk to them.
No, it's very interesting, and I think volunteering is a much better solution than, for example, just giving out money to poor people or something like that. I don't think that's really the solution. I think you should dedicate your time and your energy to making a difference, like in the dialogue.
Well, and I think that the other benefit is for you, the volunteer, because it changes your perspective on poverty and on humanity. And you think about, well, you know, I could be this person. He was a banker 2 years ago, and now he doesn't have a house. And so I think it has a positive effect on everybody involved.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think it's a very rewarding experience, and I think English Pod definitely supports that you should volunteer, you should make a difference, and I think we can all help each other, right?
That's right. And let us know, have you ever volunteered? What kind of volunteer work have you done? Has it been environmental or social?
Helping other people, the power of kindness. What does it mean to help others? Helping others means giving our time, energy, or resources to support someone in need. It can be something big, like volunteering at a hospital, or something small, like helping a friend with homework. Helping others does not always mean giving money. It can be as simple as a kind word, a smile, or listening to someone's problems. In life, everyone needs help at some point. Sometimes we are the ones giving help, and other times we are the ones receiving it. Helping others makes the world a better place and brings happiness to both the giver and the receiver. Why is helping others important? Helping others makes people happy. When we help someone, they feel good and we feel good too. A simple act of kindness, like helping a friend or a stranger, can bring joy to both the giver and the receiver. Helping others builds strong relationships, When we support and care for others, we create friendships and trust. People appreciate kindness, and helping them can strengthen the bonds between us. Helping others makes the world a better place. When people work together and support each other, communities become stronger. A society where people help one another is a society full of kindness, respect, and love. Helping others teaches kindness. When we help people, we learn to be patient, understanding, and caring. It helps us see the struggles of others and reminds us to be grateful for what we have. Helping others can come back to us. One day, when we are in need, someone might help us in return. Acts of kindness create a cycle of goodness that spreads from one person to another, making life better for everyone. Ways to help others. There are many ways to help others in our daily lives. Helping does not always mean giving money. It can be through time, effort, or even kind words. When we help people, we make life easier for them and create a positive environment around us. Helping family. Family is the first group of people we are connected to. Helping family members makes home a happier place. We can help by doing chores, listening to their problems, and supporting them in difficult times. Helping parents with housework, taking care of younger siblings, and assisting elderly family members are simple ways to show love and care. Helping friends. Friends are an important part of life, and helping them strengthens our relationships. We can help by being there when they need someone to talk to, sharing things with them, or supporting them in their studies. A good friend helps during difficult times and celebrates during happy moments. Helping strangers. We do not need to know someone to offer help. Small acts of kindness, like giving directions, helping an elderly person carry groceries, or picking up something someone dropped, can make a big difference. Helping strangers shows that kindness exists everywhere and creates a sense of unity in society. Helping in the community. Communities become stronger when people work together. Volunteering in schools, hospitals, or parks helps improve the place we live in. Cleaning public areas, donating food and clothes to those in need, and participating in community programs are great ways to make the world a better place. A helpful community is a happy and successful one. The reward of helping others. Helping others does not only benefit those who receive help, but it also makes us feel happier and more connected to the world. When we help others, we learn kindness, patience, and understanding. It creates a chain of goodness when we help someone. They may help another person, and the kindness continues. Helping others is a small act that can make a big difference. Even a small gesture, like holding the door for someone or giving a kind word, can brighten someone's day. The more we help, the more we spread kindness, making the world a better place for everyone.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Set to work vigorously. Pitch in. Willing to give away one's money, time, etc. Generous. Give something for free to a good cause. Donate. Be in a difficult situation. Fall on hard times. People who need practical or emotional support. Needy. Almost not. Hardly.
Willing to give away one's money, time, etc. Generous. Set to work vigorously. Pitch in. Let's try that faster.
Give something for free to a good cause. Donate.
Willing to give away one's money, time, etc. Generous.
Almost not. Hardly.
Set to work vigorously. Pitch in.
Willing to give away one's money, time, etc. Generous. Be in a difficult situation. Fall on hard times. People who need practical or emotional support. Needy. Set to work vigorously. Pitch in.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Donate. Every week, I donate 4 hours of my time to play with the kids at the orphanage. Donate. Can you donate some of your time to help us out at the soup kitchen? Donate. We have many volunteers who regularly donate their time to talk with the elderly in the nursing home. Generous. They gave a generous donation to the organization. Generous. This restaurant is very generous with their portion sizes. Generous. He is known to be a generous person. Fall on hard times. I talked with several homeless people, and most of them are on the street because they fell on hard times. Fall on hard times. My friend has fallen on hard times and has to sell her house. Fall on hard times. I hope we won't fall on hard times during this economic crisis. Needy. The needy are numerous in this city. Needy. We need to help the needy in our country. Needy. There are many needy people in my city. Hardly. I make hardly enough money to feed my family. Hardly. You're hardly in need of another pair of shoes. Hardly. With 5 kids, I hardly get any peace and quiet.
Hello, English learners. Welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And today we're going to have a funny lesson.
That's right. So I think this lesson's going to be a little bit different than most of our lessons, right?
Right. Today we're going to be looking at jokes, which is a very important part of English speaking culture.
Yeah, so we're going to teach you a few pretty hilarious jokes, but we're also going to teach you some language related to jokes, funny things, and that sort of stuff.
All right, so in order for us to understand a little bit better the jokes that we're going to be looking at, why don't we take a look at vocabulary preview?
Vocabulary preview.
2 of these words you'll hear in the dialogue, but one you won't, but you still need to know this word so you can understand the jokes.
All right, so the word that we're talking about is not really a word, it's a sound.
Yeah.
Moo.
Moo.
So moo is the sound that cows make.
That's right, M-O-O.
Right, they go moo.
Very nice, Marco.
I could do a good cow.
Yep. All right, so we all know now that that's what cows say.
Exactly, so it's going to be important for the joke. You'll see why.
Okay. Now, another word that you need to understand is a dam.
So a dam.
A dam.
A dam is like a big wall, right?
Well, it's a wall in water that stops the river from flowing.
Okay, so usually you build dams in rivers and then the water can pass or not.
Yeah, it's something that you use to generate electricity, right?
Very good. But there's another word that sounds exactly the same way, but it's just spelled a little differently.
That's right. And we might hear someone say, "Oh, damn."
And that's an interjection, which basically means,
"Oh no."
Right.
That's terrible.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Damn. I can say, damn, I forgot my keys.
Mm-hmm. Damn, we're late for the movie.
Okay. So it's an interesting interjection, and we'll also see it in one of our jokes. And now let's move on to our last word.
Nostrils.
Okay, nostrils.
Nostrils.
So a nostril or your nostrils.
The two holes in your nose.
Right. You breathe through your nostrils. All right. So now that we've taken a look at these 3 words, why don't we listen to our comedian for the first time, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more. Hello everyone, and welcome to Open Mic Night. You're in for a real treat as we've got a lot of great comics here with us tonight. First up, we have a very funny man coming straight from the state of Montana, Robert Hicks.
Thank you, everyone. Well, what a lovely crowd. You know, there's nothing I love better than stand-up comedy. You know, I've been working on my routine for months now, and I've got some real zingers for you tonight. Let's start out with some short jokes. How about that? Where do you find a one-legged dog? Where you left it. Get it? Anyways, what do you call a sheep with no legs? A cloud. Ooh, tough crowd. All right, now you're gonna love this joke. It's hilarious. What do cows do for entertainment? They rent movies. Movies. Okay. We've got a few hecklers in the audience, but this one is good. What does a fish say when it runs into a wall? Damn! Okay, last one. Why do gorillas have big nostrils? 'Cause they got big fingers. They got big fingers. Thanks, everyone. That was my time.
Okay, so some pretty hilarious jokes, huh?
I don't think the crowd really enjoyed them all that much.
Okay, well, maybe I'm just a fan of really terrible jokes.
Well, they were pretty funny, but I guess the crowd just didn't appreciate his sense of humor.
But you know what? They did use quite a lot of really interesting language. So why don't we look at that now in Language Takeaway?
Language takeaway.
On Language Takeaway, we're going to be looking at 6 words today, so let's get started. The announcer welcomed everyone and said that it's open mic night.
Open mic night.
So an open mic night.
Okay, well, we know mic is short for microphone, right? Now, an open mic night is a chance where anyone can come up and talk into the microphone.
So you can come up and sing, or you can tell jokes, you can do anything, basically.
Yeah.
All right, open mic night.
So it's not for professionals, but for people who maybe want to be professionals.
Right, amateurs. So it was open mic night, and he said they had a lot of great comics there.
So comics.
A comic.
A comic.
So basically, a comic is a person that makes a living by making people laugh.
Yeah, someone who stands up on stage and tells jokes.
All right. Would you say a clown is kind of like a comic?
No, they're different.
They're different, right?
A comic doesn't wear a red nose and a crazy...
A costume.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, because I hate clowns.
We do know that about you.
All right. So a comic. And well, what comics do is they perform stand-up comedy.
Stand-up comedy.
Stand-up comedy.
Okay, so stand-up comedy is really exactly what its name suggests, right?
Right. You stand up in front of an audience and you tell jokes or you make them laugh.
Yeah, tell funny stories.
It's a very popular form of entertainment in the United States and the UK.
That's right. And I think we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the lesson. But why don't we move on to our next word, which is routine.
A routine.
So the guy says, I've been working on my routine.
So what does he mean by his routine?
Well, I guess a routine is like a series or a collection of jokes or maybe movements that you use in a performance.
All right, a routine.
So you can talk about a dance routine.
Or in this case, a comedy routine. So the series of jokes he's going to tell.
That's right, that he practices again and again and again.
All right, and in his routine, he said he's got a lot of zingers.
Zingers.
A zinger.
So what's a zinger?
Basically, a zinger is like a strong, maybe a little bit rude joke.
Yeah, but like a kind of a one-line joke, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And the people that were in the crowd and they were booing him, they were like, boo. Those we call hecklers.
Exactly. And that's our last word, a heckler.
A heckler.
Hecklers.
So let's listen to some hecklers in action.
All right, well, I think that's pretty clear. Those are definitely hecklers.
Right, they're very annoying. So now that we've finished looking at all the words that are related to comedy and performances, let's take a look at the jokes now in Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
Okay, well, we're not really focusing on new phrases for you here, but we thought it would be helpful to talk a little bit about the jokes to help you understand them, right? Because they are, well, I think pretty funny.
Yeah, they're pretty funny, but maybe sometimes they're kind of hard to understand. So why don't we start with the first joke? So you said, where do you find a one-legged dog?
So what's a one-legged dog?
Basically, it's a dog that has one leg.
Ah, okay, and the pronunciation here is important, right?
One-legged.
Not one-legged.
No.
One-legged.
So you can say a one-legged dog, a two-legged dog, or a three-legged dog.
Six-legged dog?
A six-legged spider. Maybe lost two legs in a war.
Oh, dear. Okay, so the dog obviously didn't go anywhere, and so that's why you find it where you left it.
Exactly. So that's why it's kind of funny.
Okay.
All right. So then he said, what do you call a sheep with no legs?
I don't know.
A cloud. Basically because, sheep are fluffy and they're white. So if you take away their legs, they look like a little cloud.
Boo.
All right. Let's look at the next one. He asked, what do cows do for entertainment?
And then the answer was, they rent movies.
Exactly. So it's kind of funny because he's relating this word movies with the sound that cows make, which is moo.
Right. And actually, there are a million jokes in English following the same pattern, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure you can find a lot more of them and you can share them with us.
Now, my personal favorite joke is the guy says, what does a fish say when it runs into a wall?
So to run into a wall basically is to crash against the wall.
Yep.
So what does the fish say?
Damn.
So why is this funny? Why does he say damn?
Well, because if you're a person and you run into a wall, damn, like that, just like, oh
Ouch.
no,
Yeah,
ouch.
ouch.
Yeah. But a fish is swimming under the water, and like we saw, a dam is actually like a wall in the water.
So he's saying like, a wall.
Yeah. So it's that, I like that one.
All right. The last one was pretty good. Why do gorillas have big nostrils?
Okay, so the big holes in their nose.
Right. And basically it's because they have big fingers.
So they can put their fingers in the nose?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, dear.
If the gorilla didn't have big nostrils, he wouldn't be able to pick his nose.
Maybe he'd have to use a stick.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be convenient, see?
All right.
So that's why those jokes are funny. They're very short jokes. Some of them are not actually really funny, but it's just a little bit of a taste of short American jokes.
Okay, well, I think we need to hear them one more time in context so you can all know how funny, or maybe not so funny, they are.
Hello everyone and welcome to Open Mic Night. You're in for a real treat as we've got a lot of great comics here with us tonight. First up, we have a very funny man coming straight from the state of Montana, Robert Hicks.
Thank you, everyone. Well, what a lovely crowd. There's nothing I love better than stand-up comedy. I've been working on my routine for months now, and I've got some real zingers for you tonight. Let's start out with some short jokes. How about that? Where do you find a one-legged dog? Where you left it. Get it? Anyways, what do you call a sheep with no legs? A cloud. Ooh, tough crowd. All right, now you're gonna love this joke. It's hilarious. What do cows do for entertainment? They rent movies. Movies. Okay. We've got a few hecklers in the audience, but this one is good. What does a fish say when it runs into a wall? Damn! Okay, last one. Why do gorillas have big nostrils? Because they got big fingers. They got big fingers. Thanks, everyone. That was my time.
Now, if you have any good jokes of your own, why don't you come to our website and tell us about them?
Right. Come to EnglishPod.com. Share with us any jokes. Of course, they have to be clean. Don't come.
No swears.
No swearing in the jokes.
Yep.
All right. So we'll see you guys there. And until next time.
Thanks for listening and goodbye.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. When a club or restaurant allows for anyone to sing or perform.
Open mic night.
A reply to an insult, a witty retort.
Comeback.
When someone performs comedy while standing on a stage.
Stand-up comedy.
Insulting or in some other way defaming someone or something.
Diss.
A series of things such as movements or jokes.
Routine.
To play a joke or prank someone.
Punk.
A quick and clever comment that criticizes.
Zinger.
Make fun of or laugh at someone.
Mock.
Someone who interrupts, someone such as a speaker.
Heckler.
In an unrestrained manner, spontaneously.
Ad lib.
Let's try that faster. When a club or restaurant allows for anyone to sing or perform.
Open mic night.
To play a joke or prank someone.
Punk.
Make fun of or laugh at someone.
Mock.
When someone performs comedy while standing on a stage.
Stand-up comedy.
In an unrestrained manner, spontaneously.
Ad lib.
A series of things such as movements or jokes.
Routine.
Insulting or in some other way defaming someone or something.
Diss.
A reply to an insult, a witty retort.
Comeback.
Someone who interrupts, someone such as a speaker.
Heckler.
A quick and clever comment that criticizes.
Zinger.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Open mic night. Tonight there's an open mic night at the local comedy club. Want to go? Open mic night. This is the last time I go to an open mic night. The performers were horrible. Open mic night. Tom wants to go to the open mic night tonight since his friend is going to perform. Stand-up comedy. Many famous comedians and actors started by doing stand-up comedy. Stand-up comedy. I love watching stand-up comedy. All those jokes and funny stories put me in a good mood. Stand-up comedy. Did you hear? The bar down the street is going to have stand-up comedy tonight. Let's go. Routine. Carl has an amazing magic trick routine that he always performs at parties. Routine. Madonna's dance routine is perfect. She's such a good dancer. Routine. A good performer should have a solid routine when they get on stage. Zinger. Max is such a funny guy. He always greets me with a new zinger. Zinger. I like to come up with witty zingers from time to time. Zinger. That comedian made me laugh so hard. He had so many funny zingers. Heckler. The crowd was full of hecklers and really gave the performer a hard time. Heckler. That meeting was horrible. Everyone was acting like a group of hecklers. Heckler. There was a heckler today at the press conference who really gave the president a hard time by being loud and obnoxious.